Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Capricorn. If Capricorn is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. All right, let's see what these tea leaves have to say today. Okay. And so our card for today is the Ace of Swords. And this has everything to do with mindfulness, activity, a change in awareness. Maybe a little bit of restlessness in there too. Okay, and I like to think of it as the sword and the stone, which we've been reading my daughter. We have one of those old, do you remember those Disney books? They're like they're not chapter books, but they're like storybooks, but they're big and they're pretty long actually. And anyways, it's very nostalgic. This is one of the old ones from when I was a kid, and it's so much fun reading these stories again. But the Ace of Swords, always I think of pulling that sword from that stone, bringing it up into the light. It is shining. And you have unleashed that brilliant, sharp mind, that thing, that skill, that beloved interest, passion, whatever it is that you have discovered it. And now what will you do with it? I think so much about how, and I've always had this thing about, there's so many things that we could learn in the world, so many things we could do, so many sports or hobbies or career paths, the very niche things. And it's so interesting to think how many things are out there that you would absolutely love, that would be your ultimate passion in the world. But how do we know to find that thing? How do people find, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something very kind of obscure that they like to, some kind of, something that's really big now, pickleball, it's popular, so maybe more people try it. But how did people start to figure out, I really like this? You know what I mean? So, it could be anything. I think about that a lot. That's why I like to try so many things. I'm going to find more and more things that I love. All right. Capricorn. Let's see. Where are we at? Where is my stick? There it is. It is Friday afternoon, and I have to tell you, everybody's a bit wound up here in the house. It has been raining for 2 days. The eclipse I think we've gone into the new moon, probably officially, and the eclipse is tomorrow. The energy in here is wound up. My child has not been outside to play in 2 days. She's been to other things, classes and things, but something about not being able to go outside for too long. Really, we've been, I'd love to let her go run and splash in the water, but we've had, one thing after another. And so hopefully we'll be able to get out there later, because she is getting restless. I can hear her downstairs dumping things out. Dumping out her Legos or whatever. All right, let's see. We have, and here is interesting. I see a person and we have a shoe right here behind them. And I'm not going to get on all of these old like folk tales or, fairy tales and things. But I am thinking this is not unlike Cinderella, right? Where the prince is going around with the shoe that she left behind to see whose foot fits in it. Kind of a weird story, but okay. So I think as far as symbolism goes, looking for that perfect thing. And I think this fits into what we've just been talking about. Now, are we talking about love? Are you looking for your person, your soulmate, the beloved manifest? I don't know. But I do think that you are looking for something different from what you've already had. And I don't mean a person. I mean an experience. Okay, a passion, a hobby, something that makes you wake up excited. Oh, I'm going to go kayak the river today. I'm going to go, I don't know, paint ceramics, throw some pots, whatever it is. There's so many things. I'm always trying to think of like the most random stuff, but I'm not, I'm not good at like making things up in my mind too quickly. But I do think that there is a feeling of, wanting to get out there, try some new experiences, try to put that glass slipper on some different hobbies, activities. Maybe not only something you find interesting, although that should be an aspect of it, right? But something outside of your comfort zone, right? Maybe, I don't know how far outside of it, but something a little different. Try something, maybe something you never thought that you could do. Or maybe something you've never even thought about doing at all, right? And I don't know. I'm trying to think of something. Listen, for me, we got so much stuff. I want to sleep. That's my thing. I'm like, hey, you know what? My new hobby is going to sleep more than 5 hours a night. That would be good. But yeah, trying new things. Been trying to implement this in my own life. Been doing pretty good. I've been, one thing, it's not new to me. I used to swim a lot when I was a kid. I've been making it a point to swim at least, every other week, but hopefully once a week. And a lot of that is I want my daughter to swim as much as I did. Of course, where I grew up, we didn't have a whole lot of winter. But, I'm pushing myself to do things that I remember I used to love doing. And I have fun doing it. I really do. I like to get in the pool and splash around and stuff. And so, I think finding maybe old loves like that, maybe there's some things that you used to like to do. But whatever it is, I feel like it's just a time to find something that is enjoyable to you. And I know, Capricorn, we're always talking about work with you and these kinds of things, but try something that's not work related. That's my stipulation here. Okay, so we have a rooster right here. We have an alarm going off, and it almost looks like an equal sign. So it almost looks like it's equal to this. I should have looked at this before. The rooster, and it equals the exploration into new activities. Well, I think that this really is kind of something going off. And I think that the phrase that comes to mind, and this is so interesting, I was thinking of this as I was getting the tea steeping for this reading, and I thought, almost this thing came to my mind about my dream and my prison, right? And this idea that sometimes when we finally meet our goals, we get to that place we've been working so hard to get to for so long, it can sometimes feel like the prison that we built for ourselves. And that's heavy. That's heavy. And it can also just be that you are in a rut. You have that stinking thinking going on. Listen, there are so many times when I'm, cleaning up a mess for the 80th time in a day, and I think, I feel like what am I doing? How did I get here to be this domestic goddess that I am? Because this is not what I envisioned for myself. But when it did become a reality, or at least the potential of a reality, it became my dream. And now that I'm here, I love it. I would say 87% of the time. The other times I'm worn out. Just like any other mama out there, any other papa out there, any other, person that's out there working hard day and night, trying to keep it together. Sometimes we just think, God, we have made our own dang prison. How did we get here? Well, a lot of that is frustration and being tired, overwhelmed, chaos of the freaking universe, not just this world, the universe, and all of the many factors that are personal to each of us. Okay. But the thing is, I think we have to reorient ourselves a little bit. This is where that interior work really comes into play, and that interior work flowing out into the things that we have to implement into our mundane lives, our everyday lives. Things like taking time for yourself, being alone. I mean, for me, this is, we're family. We all work from home. My husband and I work from home. My daughter's, home a lot with us. And so, we're together a lot. And maybe you're the opposite. Maybe you're alone a lot of the time. So this would be the opposite. You would be looking to be with people. Go be among your people. Go volunteer. Go do something. Go be in a place where there's people around. Or, for like me, advocating for myself, to myself, by the way, to find a few moments to be alone. I mentioned this a while ago in one of my other readings. I bought myself some headphones, some cheapy ones, but I like to listen to music. I haven't had headphones in some years. I don't know where the heck my other ones went from the last move, but I got myself some headphones so I could listen to music. And it felt very selfish, I have to say, but I need it. I sometimes need to just go and put on some music and sit and stare out the window. Mindlessly just look, right? Because it helps me stay together. It's where I can be quiet for a moment. I'm not saying anything to anybody. Nobody's asking me anything. I'm just listening to some music, and I'm looking at the trees, and I'm looking at the squirrels, and I'm looking at, the clouds go by, and sometimes that's what I need. And it does. It's hard. It's hard to give myself that time. But we all need that, whatever that looks like for you. And if it's the opposite, like I said, go be among some people. Hit your people up. Make some plans. I think so often in life we think, nobody invited me. Nobody called me. Nobody calls me, nobody wants to do anything, everybody just kind of does their own thing. And well, be the person who's going to make the first move. Okay? Be the person that sets up a game night, that comes up with something for you all to do. Maybe it's not in your nature to be a host or an organizer, but if you want to do that stuff, go and do it. Don't wait for somebody else to do it for you. We got to get out of that thinking. You know, I talked about this with like birthday presents around my birthday. And this is no cap on my husband. My husband's amazing and he does buy me, you know, we try to limit our purchases. You know, we don't spend a lot of money on anything, but you know, thoughtful stuff or writing like a beautiful letter or whatever. And you know, we like to make things and spiritual objects, you know, and magical objects and stuff like that. But you know, the part where it's like you're waiting for somebody to get you something that you want. Why? Get yourself what you want. Tell them, you know what I mean? Or whatever. I mean, you don't have to just tell them, but buy the thing and put their name on it from them to you. I don't know what the problem with that is. I don't know. I guess maybe I'm like a get it done type of girl. I don't wait around for anybody to fulfill my needs. I do not. You know, I'm under the I am definitely that person. If there is not something there, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it happen. Right? And, you know, passively waiting for things to fall into place. I mean, okay, yeah, we can do that to some degree, but, you know, don't sit around and hurt your own feelings, you know, because really the reality of it is I don't think that very rarely I believe that people are out there trying to be malicious and leave you out and all of this. A lot of people are just not very thoughtful. A lot of people don't consider all of the things. A lot of people are really busy themselves, right? We're having a small birthday party this weekend. I just texted somebody this morning, who I was supposed to text like 2 weeks ago. I forgot. I'm not going to say who it is, but if you're listening, you got to text me this morning. I'm sorry, you know? It's not personal. It's just, you know, things happen. People just, you know, we just get busy. We forget. We're absent-minded. It happens. Don't take it personally. All right. So, let's see. Now I've gone on this little tirade. Let's see. We have a boat. And it looks like there's it's missing its sail. But it looks like, and I'm trying to think, what is this? It looks like somebody is at the wheel, at the helm. Is that what it's called? And so maybe it's not a sailboat. Maybe it's just a boat with a, you know, it looks like it does not look like it's in a bad position. Let's say that. And so we have movement of some kind, or at least the want for some kind of movement. Okay. And I feel, and I have two people hugging over here. It looks like a younger person and an older person. Also, look, we have two people kind of dancing here. You know, I really feel like there has been psychic energy flowing heavily, Capricorn. And I do think that there is this feeling of sometimes, you know, just really getting into the thing, like especially with work and projects. You're very excited to do these things. Happy to get into that flow. Happy to not think about anything else on the outside while you're doing it, okay? But then when you're on the outside of that work zone, there can be some disharmony, or at least feeling like there's something missing, okay? But all of the elements are there. And I think so much of it is about getting past maybe some of the beliefs that were instilled into you as a child. And I really do think this is part of what it is. Feeling like a burden to others. You don't want to waste people's times. You don't want to interrupt people. You don't want to, they're busy. I don't want to call them and bother them or whatever. I really feel like you need to work on not feeling, you're going to feel this way. I get it. I feel like this a lot too. But at least just sending the text, okay? Checking in with people. It doesn't have to be all the time. But really just opening the lines of communication, realizing that so often I think these relationships in our lives come to a standstill because we both feel the same way. I don't want to bother them. They're busy. They have so much going on. And if we just would send the, hey, I'm thinking about you every once in a while, every other week, even. It opens up a lot more room for when there is time and want to do things together, be together, and also the receptiveness that you will receive. I think it breaks down the illusion of feeling burdensome to other people, okay? So I feel like this is really something that's just kind of, and I feel like this is very much like a generational thing anyways. I feel like a lot of people, at least, and I can't speak for younger people, I don't know what they're doing, but anybody who's like, say, 30 years old and older, a lot of us have felt that we kind of just don't bother somebody if you don't have to. Okay. Don't, unless there, is a reason we don't really need to talk to people, or we don't, we should not go out of our way to, try to communicate with people unless it's like a setup thing where we call once a week, or, you only call when there's bad news or really good news, or, these kinds of things. Well, I think that we need to kind of abolish that kind of thinking as much as we can. I think it's important just to check in, just doing a, how are you doing? And I really learned, because I live in the Midwest, pretty much everybody you meet, you say, hey, how you doing? Do you stand and listen every single time? No. Does anybody say more than, oh, I'm doing good? No. But it's weird, because where I grew up, you do not really do that. Not very many people, are saying, hey, how you doing? What's going on with you? You don't hear that a lot. So, or at least I didn't growing up. So anyways, it's like a different culture of, small talk, kind of politeness or whatever. Not saying it's better, not saying it's worse. It can be tedious, but I do think, checking in with people is important. Getting past this feeling of, people don't want to hear from me all the time. I think that there's a sense of wanting togetherness, and you have to be the one to set down kind of, that the roadway towards that. And a lot of that has to do with just, being there more than not, or at least once in a while, not, every 6 months or every 3 years, there's a check-in, or if somebody passes away and you're, talking and getting really close for a few days, and then you don't hear from each other again. That's a hard way to, not that that's a bad, some people, we have relationships like that, but it doesn't diminish the friendship or anything. But, I think just making that little effort where you can find those emotional reserves to do that. Okay, so we have a 27, and it looks like a semicolon and maybe another 7. So I don't know. I don't even know what that would mean with the semicolon and another. Maybe that's like something mathematical. I don't know. I only know the semicolon in writing. So I don't know what to tell you here, but we have the 27, and then we have maybe another 7 behind. The semicolon, usually when it comes up, I talk about this as being somebody who has, because the symbol in pop culture anyways had become a symbol of somebody who has survived an attempt to unalive themselves. I think that, I don't think that this is what is happening now, but I think that this is a lingering energy. Okay. One that is more present than you would even imagine. Maybe, right? I live in a household. If you watch my husband's, videos, he rolls up his sleeves and he has this tattoo on his wrist. I don't have the tattoo, but I also have the same experience. Well, not exact same, but similar experience. I know lots of people who do. Maybe that's because I'm in a lot of support groups and I've done a lot of therapy and I'm in recovery for substance abuse. So I meet a lot of people who have gone through these things, but I think that it is something that is a lot more common than we realize. So please do not feel alone. If this is you, if you need a support system, or you need to activate your support system if you're going through a rough time, please do that. Okay. Reach out. There are hotlines. But if you have access to a therapist, counseling, anything like that, please do it. And you can always go to the hospital. And I know it's hard. It's hard to make that decision, but please, and I think this comes it goes hand in hand with this feeling of not wanting to bother people. But please do, because you are important. We need you and we love you. You are a divine being, okay? You are worth the effort. You are worth the time. I don't care if this is the first time or the 150th time this has come up in your life. You are not a burden to anybody. Okay, and if you have somebody in your life who is going through this situation and this is that energy coming into your immediate life right now from somebody you love, be there for them. Okay, seek the support you need to be able to support them, because it's not easy. It's not easy to know what to do, especially if you don't have a background in mental health. Okay, there are a lot of resources out there. And if this is something that is old, I think just having a good check-in with yourself. Okay. And if, we're going into the deepness of the middle seasons, if it is spring in the Southern Hemisphere, a lot of seasonal depression with the hotter seasons. We talk a lot about the cold seasons, but you know what? A lot of people do have seasonal affective disorder in the warm seasons, especially if you live in an area, a climate where you're going to be indoors a lot in the AC, keeping the windows closed. That's hard. I live in now, it gets very cold here and we have a lot of snow for like 5-6 months a year. Nothing compared to where I grew up, and I'm sensitive to the heat anyways, but where I grew up in California, we were inside a lot during the summer, and I was so much more depressed indoors in the AC than I am in the cold. That's just me. That's my own makeup. But, it's something I don't hear a lot about, but it is very valid. So if you're affected by these changes in season, reach out, get some extra support. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. I think the stigmas are falling away, but we have to keep talking about it. Okay, something that should be hand in hand with spiritual work, self-work, magical work, mental health. You know, we're so lucky to live in an era where it's more and more accessible, or at least talked about. Okay. All right, let's do it. We're doing the Earthbound Oracle cards. My readings are going long today. My goodness. Just jabbering away. Okay, so we have abundance. We have the pomegranate. I love the you know what? I'm gonna do another one. I like doing oracle cards. I do. I kind of used to not really ever. Ooh, toxic. One more. I gotta see an abundance of what? Okay, God. Okay, so we have. Let's see. Where can I put this? I'll put it in my hand right here. We have abundance, toxic. And then we have a guide. So what does that mean? You know, hopefully not abundance of toxicity in our lives. But whatever it is, I think this guiding principle, it's all about listening to that intuition. I think that's the biggest thing. And maybe, you know, this toxic beliefs, the old beliefs, okay? You know, I think that it's important. It's our coping mechanisms, our conditioning. You know, we spend so much of our life trying to undo these things, you know, and it's not just our parents. It's not just our families. It's, you know, through media, through culture, the shifts in social mores and, you know, popular belief and whatever. And it becomes our kind of life's work to kind of undo some of that stuff. And that's hard, but it is worthy work, you know, especially if you are raising children, grandchildren, and so on, trying to break some of those generational curses, abuses, beliefs. You know, that's the ultimate gift you can give, is really trying to combat some of that stuff. And not easy. That's the work of a warrior. It really is. So anyhow, Capricorn, I want to say thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. If you would be so kind as to like the video, it helps us get into the algorithm. And as we know, the algorithm kind of decides everything about everything. So we like to make it super duper happy by giving it the engagement that it wants. And these are things like liking the video, sharing the readings on other social media platforms, watching the readings from the beginning to the end. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos are coming out. And if you'd like to leave a comment, please do. I read all of them. They are so important to me. You know, I haven't been the best at getting back to all of them. I've said in my other readings, we have stuff going on in our personal life right now. And, you know, I'm not always at my best, especially because I do them at night. And I'm like worn. I feel like I'm... But today, actually, I feel like I've been doing better. I've been really like, I read them all, and they really are very touching. I cannot tell you how many times, and it's amplified from this other stuff going on, but I've cried reading some of the comments. They really are very moving and so sweet. And you all just have the best energy. I love you all very, very much. And some of them are just so funny because they just are ridiculous. The ones where they're just like, just talking SH to me. I love it. I mean, I don't love it. Don't do it, please. You'll make me cry for real. But some of them are ridiculous. So I don't know. I get a little tear and chuckle out of those ones as well. But yeah, so anyways, I love you. We'll talk soon in just a few days. Happy eclipse. Set your intentions. We're going to have a wonderful new cycle. You're beautiful.